Joining us now, the mayor, long-term mayor of Virginia Beach, the biggest city in Virginia. He's also a very key political figure, Will Sessoms. Mr. Mayor, great to have you.
Oh, good to be with you. Hope you're doing well.
We're doing fine, Mr. Mayor. Now, I want to get to your big endorsement the other day. Now, you say you're a Republican. In 2013, you endorsed Terry McAuliffe, the Democrat, and then just the other day, you endorsed Mark Warner over Ed Gillespie. Can you share with our audience why? What was the catalyst for that?
Well, it's real simple. In my job as mayor, I have to do what I believe is the best thing for the city over what might be best for me politically. I have a wonderful working relationship with Senator Warner. It goes back to when he was governor. I'm sure we all remember the days when all of a sudden Oceana is pulled in on BRAC. BRAC says, get rid of Oceana. And let me say to you, if we hadn't had the cooperation from the governor's office, of course, working steadily with the city, we probably wouldn't have Oceana today. And that's something I don't forget, and I hope the citizens of Virginia Beach don't forget it as well.
Okay, other than that, are there any other reasons? What about politically, ideology, philosophy?
Well, the truth of the matter is I have always been a believer, and I keep using the term the Virginia way. I remember Bob McDonnell using the Virginia way when he was getting the transportation plan done. The Virginia way is people putting partisan politics aside and working on accomplishing things that's good for whatever it be, your city, the Commonwealth, or your country. I do believe that Mark Warner believes in the Virginia way. If you look at when he proposes legislation in D.C., what's he always have beside him? A Republican. Mm-hmm. And I applaud that. And I would sit back and make this comment to you, and I feel very strongly about this, that the more that we can get people working together, we will find ways to solve some of these awful problems that our country is facing. And that, I think, is what's key, and I think he's made that effort. He's a very intelligent person, as you know. Mm-hmm. And in addition, they say, oh, he doesn't step up to the president. He doesn't stand up to the president. The bottom line is, just recently, he's told him he's not happy with the way he's handling ISIS. Mm-hmm. He's not happy with the way he's handling Ebola. And he has, certainly tried to work together on getting this budget balance and, working with both sides, and has not been able to succeed at that. But he has worked diligently at that, and that's probably the most critical thing that we need to do.
Mr. Mayor, when you talk about bipartisanship and working across the aisle, certainly Mark Warner has made a lot of proposals, if you will, but they get up to Harry Reid and they get blocked. Do you think that Harry Reid is a problem?
I do. I think the president's a problem.
So would your best case situation be that Warner get reelected, Republicans take control of the Senate, and get rid of Harry Reid?
I don't have a problem with that one bit.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. Mr. Mayor, have you made an endorsement in the 2nd congressional race?
A very strong one, Scott Ridgel. And as you know, Scott's a dear friend, and let me tell you, he's doing a great job, and I hope everyone sees that he has worked diligently to work with both sides up in Richmond. Matter of fact, his ads say he has had the bipartisan effort. Mm-hmm. I'm very proud of Scott. I mean, I can't do enough for Scott to get him reelected. He's a dear friend, and he's doing a great job for us in Washington. I admire him greatly.
Now, when you look at your endorsement of Ridgel, Scott Ridgel, businessman, I happen to agree. I think he's one of the best congressmen that we have in the United States, honestly.
I think Scott has a bright future in D.C., and that means to me our country might have a bright future, because right now it's a bit gloomy.
It certainly is. How do you see the lay of the land in Virginia now? Basically, all of the public surveys showing Mark Warner is going to win. I think he's going to win handily. That's just me. I don't think Ed Gillespie has run a particularly inspiring campaign to any degree. But if Warner wins, you're going to have to say to yourself as a Republican, when are the Republicans ever going to win a statewide office?
Well, I think it gets back to the basics. And, a lot of people frown upon me and my position and sometimes not always supporting the Republican. But when I was a part, as honestly as I can say this to you, I was a part of helping get the Republican Party started in Virginia Beach. And there was the Democratic Party ran Virginia Beach for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. We started out with getting John Atkinson elected city treasurer. We didn't have any money, signs, or anything like that. We were pasting them on paper. But when we were doing this, and Bill Whitehurst for Congress, when we were doing this, we were having fun. We were bringing people together. We believed in the Republican principles, and, we worked together in the party. Something that we must, and I'm willing to do my best also when I make this comment to you. We must come together in the Republican Party to work together for the principles that 90% of we all agree on. Mm-hmm. We might have that 5 to 10% that we don't, and then that 5 to 10% become very, very divisive. Mm-hmm. We must stop dividing the party and unite the party.
Your beast for election coverage. Keep it right here with Mayor Will Sessoms of Virginia Beach. The Republican has endorsed Mark Warner for re-election to the U.S. Senate. Got two more questions, Mr. Mayor. Number one, why should Republicans, in your mind, vote for Mark Warner in 8 days?
Well, I've done my own polls. You just told me the polls you had seen and so forth, and I did a poll the end of September. And it clearly looks like me, even in Virginia Beach, that Republicans are supporting Mark Warner because he had a pretty substantial lead in Virginia Beach. And I hope you heard me say Virginia Beach.
Right.
This was focused just on Virginia Beach.
Right.
He's won Virginia Beach before. And it goes back, and it's funny, I'm sitting back listening to an ad from a Republican, while I was off there, and they talked about the Virginia way. And I think, more than anything, that Mark Warner stands for the Virginia way, and that's getting things done for the betterment of our country, and that means working together.
Okay, now what do you say to those in the Republican Party of Virginia Beach who have said that you're not welcome, they need to throw you out, you shouldn't be showing up at their meetings, you shouldn't be at any of their proxy meetings, you went to Cox High School to vote for Wagner? What's your message, your response back to them?
Well, I'm in politics. I accept those feelings from those people, and I will respect them. But I would sit back and say to you, you sit back and say, how are we going to win a statewide election?
Yes.
We got to welcome everybody to the Republican Party. Even if they go out and vote for a Democrat every now and then. I suggest that the more we welcome more people, the more successful the Republican Party will be in the future.
All right, that's going to be the final word. We want to thank Virginia Beach Mayor Will Sessoms for being with us. Mayor Sessoms, a Republican, has endorsed Senator Mark Warner for re-election in 8 days. We always appreciate your being with us, Mr. Mayor, and we thank you, as always, for your candor here on the John Fredericks Show. Thanks, sir.
My pleasure. You have a great day.